Commander Zixtal adjusted the thermal regulator on his environmental suit for the 7th time in as many minutes. The hostile world of Kepler 442c stretched before the Galactic Survival Assessment Team, a barren landscape of jagged rocks, unpredictable weather patterns, and atmospheric composition that could kill most species within hours. Initiating Phase 1 of the survival protocol, announced Dr. Velnara, the team's xenobiologist. Her forearms worked methodically to deploy the emergency shelter, a marvel of Centaurian engineering that had taken 3 centuries to perfect. Estimated completion time, 47 minutes. The other team members, representatives from 12 different species across the galaxy, began their carefully choreographed survival routine. Each movement had been drilled into them through decades of training. The crystalline hierarchs activated their mineral absorption chambers. The gaseous collective began atmospheric filtration procedures. The silicon-based architects started constructing protective barriers using advanced molecular manipulation. This was the final examination for the most elite survival specialist in the galaxy, the culmination of centuries of preparation for the harshest environments known to galactic civilization. "Sir," called out Ensign Trelek, his translator struggling with excitement. "Long-range scanners are detecting an unidentified life form approaching from the western ridge." Commander Zixtal's 3 eyes focused on the scanner display. Indeed, something was moving toward their position with surprising speed. But the readings were impossible. "These biosignatures don't match any known species," Dr. Velnara reported, her voice tense. "The creature appears to be singing?" The sound reached them before they could see its source, a melodic, rhythmic noise that seemed completely at odds with the deadly environment surrounding them. As the figure crested the ridge, the entire team froze in disbelief. It was bipedal, roughly humanoid in shape, but it wore no environmental suit, no protective gear, no life support systems. Instead, it was covered in what appeared to be colorful fabric. The creature carried a large rectangular object on its back and seemed to be producing the musical sounds from its own vocal apparatus. "By the 7 sons of Arcturus," whispered Commander Zixtal, "what manner of being could survive in this environment without protection?" The creature, a human though they didn't know this yet, spotted their elaborate survival encampment and changed direction, approaching with what could only be described as enthusiasm. As it drew closer, they could see it was actually quite young by most species standards, with primitive-looking equipment that seemed almost comically inadequate for the hostile world around them. "Hello there," the human called out in standard galactic, though with a peculiar accent. "Nice setup you've got here. I'm Jake from Earth. Mind if I camp nearby?" The alien survival experts exchanged bewildered glances. Camp? This creature intended to establish a temporary habitation in this death world, with nothing but the primitive gear on its back. You cannot possibly survive here without proper equipment," stammered Dr. Velnara. "This world has temperature fluctuations of 60 degrees, toxic atmospheric pockets, and predatory mineral formations that—" "Oh yeah, it's a bit nippy," Jake interrupted cheerfully, dropping his backpack and beginning to unpack what looked like ancient textile materials. "Good thing I brought my sleeping bag rated for -20. Should be fine." Within minutes, the human had assembled a simple shelter using nothing but flexible poles and fabric. No environmental controls, no atmospheric processors, no molecular-level filtration systems, just fabric and sticks. "This is impossible," muttered Engineer Coln, whose species had spent 400 years developing the technology to survive such conditions. The radiation alone should have killed it by now. Jake, meanwhile, had started a small fire using primitive combustion techniques and was heating what appeared to be preserved food in metal containers. The aliens watched in stunned silence as he offered to share something called beans and franks with anyone who was interested. "You know," Jake said, stirring his meal with a simple metal implement, "this reminds me of when my dad took me camping in Yellowstone when I was 8. Now that was rough. We forgot the bug spray and had to deal with mosquitoes all night." He laughed at the memory. "At least here you don't have to worry about bears getting into your food." "Bears?" Dr. Velnara asked weakly. "Oh, they're these big predators back home. About 3 meters tall when they stand up. Massive claws can run faster than most vehicles. They love camping areas because of all the food. Dad always said the trick was to hang your supplies high enough that they couldn't reach them." Commander Zixtal felt his 3 hearts skip several beats. This creature came from a world inhabited by 3-meter-tall predators, and it considered this environment merely nippy. As the alien team struggled with their complex survival procedures, Jake settled in for the night. He pulled out a small rectangular device and began reading what appeared to be a recreational text, occasionally chuckling to himself. When the planet's twin moons rose and the temperature dropped another 20 degrees, he simply added another layer of clothing and continued reading. "This is impossible," repeated Engineer Coln. "Our instruments show the atmospheric pressure fluctuating beyond safe parameters. The ground itself is radiating toxic particles, and the local ecosystem appears to be actively hostile to life." "Yeah. It's not exactly Disneyland," Jake agreed. "But hey, at least the view is spectacular. You should see the stars from here, no light pollution at all." The next morning, Jake packed up his simple equipment in a matter of minutes while the alien team was still running diagnostic checks on their environmental systems. Before departing, he walked over to their sophisticated encampment with genuine interest. "That's some serious gear you've got there," he said admiringly. "What are you folks, some kind of research expedition?" "We are—" Commander Zixtal paused, suddenly unsure how to explain their presence. "We are the galaxy's most elite survival specialists undergoing final assessment in extreme environment protocols." Jake nodded respectfully. "Cool, well, good luck with that. I'm heading north to check out those crystal formations I spotted yesterday. Heard they're supposed to be pretty amazing at sunrise." He shouldered his primitive pack and started walking away, then called back over his shoulder, "Oh, and if you're planning to stay another night, watch out for those purple rock formations. They tend to shift around after dark. Nothing dangerous, just noisy enough to keep you awake." As the human disappeared over the northern ridge, still humming that strange, cheerful melody, the 12 most experienced survival experts in the galaxy sat in stunned silence. "I believe," Dr. Velnara said finally, "we need to revise our understanding of what constitutes survival training." Commander Zixtal was already drafting his report to Galactic Command. Somehow he suspected that the galaxy's first contact with humanity was going to change everything they thought they knew about surviving in hostile environments. After all, what his species called expert-level planetary survival, humans apparently called a nice weekend getaway.